Welcome back to Women's Wealth, The Middle Way, the show that answers your questions about work, money, and family. My name is Susan McGlory Michael, and I am the CEO and founder of Glen Eagle, a wealth management firm in New Jersey. Our guest today is Helen Law. She's here to discuss Chinese medicine principles and can help busy professionals achieve a better balance in their daily lives. Dr. Law is a licensed acupuncturist who has practiced Chinese medicine for over 25 years. She has been voted New Jersey top doc since 2010 and the best acupuncturist in Princeton, New Jersey since 2008. Dr. Law recently published Retirement Made Easy, The Ultimate Guide and Secrets to Longevity, a holistic guide. She frequently speaks on topics related to Chinese medicine. In the recently published magazine, she was featured as the cover story as the most inspiring woman leading businesses in 2025, as well as the top 10 women leading integrative medicine in 2025. I am more than thrilled to welcome Dr. Law with us today.
Thank you.
Dr. Law, I'd love to begin by asking you what inspired you to focus on Chinese medicine as your life's work.
My journey into Chinese medicine began with my personal experience in my life. When I was 14, I caught a fever that lasted 2 months and could be more. So went to the hospital and they couldn't figure out why. And every time the fever spiked and they gave you the fever reducing medicine, it came down and it came back up again and went on and on for 2 months. So finally, I consult with my grandmother, who's a famous Chinese doctor, herbal medicine expert. So she felt my pulse and wrote me a herbal formula that consists of all the branches and leaves, who knows what, and cooked the tea. And I drank that and was gone. That was when I was 14. And then later on, college, drinking all the black coffee and everything, I developed a stomach ulcer. And again, seeking for Western medicine, all the medicine didn't work and continued to have pain. One of my friends in church suggested using acupuncture. I didn't know anything about it. And then, so miraculously, and I found out acupuncture is amazing helping the stomach issues. So that actually really inspired me. Although after college, I became aerospace engineer, doing the guidance and control, standing in the satellite, orbiting the Earth. But the truth is when I started having my own children and just figure I don't want my children going through the Western medicine, the protocol, antibiotics and everything. So then it really inspired me to focus on Chinese medicine. So ever since I've been doing a lot of study and very passionate about it. And so right now I'm dedicated to promote balancing and holistic health and look forward to continue this meaningful journey.
It's unbelievable, and I know how many people in our local area that you help, and people come from all over. I know that people come over from Europe, and they meet you in New York. They come everywhere because they want your expertise. So you have really become well renowned in the industry. But how can Chinese medicine help us achieve a better balance in our lives? And you talk about how you discovered it all the way back to your grandmother. When you think about that, how empowering. She probably knew back then what took you many years to find out, but how can we as individuals achieve a better balance in our lives?
Chinese medicine actually offers a holistic approach, emphasizing the balance and harmony within the body and the mind. So we're not targeting specific symptoms. We're actually looking at you as a whole body. Based on the principle, we integrate the elements into our routine, promote physical health, and nurture emotional and mental stability and enable us to live much better health daily.
I know that you are surrounded by, and we often talk about how busy we are as women. We're juggling so many different entities, family, work, business. We're giving back to our community. I would love if you could recommend some self-care practices that we as really busy women could benefit from.
In today's world, we know that it's very challenging for women, and we carry many different burdens on our shoulders, the family, the kids, and work and everything. So we encourage women to prioritize self-care and in your busy schedule. Of course, you say, oh, we don't have time, we're too busy. But to maintain the balance and practice the mindful breathing, taking short movement breaks instead of sitting on the desk all the time in front of the computer. Also, I encourage everyone to stay hydrated, very important. Remember, self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity for sustaining health and happiness.
I can't agree with you more. I think you're so in tune with busy women, and I know that so many busy women come to see you every day, not only for acupuncture, but for kind of emotional advice that you give them. How does physical wellness affect our overall decision making? I mean, there's so many things that the mind is so powerful. How do we keep that mind with clarity in our decision making abilities?
Yeah, it's very important. We talk about regular exercise. I oftentimes talk to my patients saying, oh, I don't have time, and usually that's the case. However, when you have a regular exercise, you actually increase the blood flow to the brain and deliver the oxygen and nutrients. And it's very important to help your brain. Regular exercise release endorphins, commonly known as feel-good hormone. Oftentimes, women don't have time to do exercise, and they become very anxiety and also depression. So exercise actually promotes that feel-good hormone. And then very important, I want to address quality of sleep. Some of the doctors say, yeah, I don't sleep, I sleep when I die. And that kind of joke, right?
Yeah.
And then turns out if you don't have enough sleep, you're actually closer to death in the past much sooner. So in other words, you can see that a healthy body can manage your stress level much better. When you don't sleep enough and you can't even handle your stress, you can't think very clear. I believe the physical wellness is absolutely very important to help anybody, not just women, to making the right decision in your life and thinking clear and actually improving the efficacy when you work. And when you're tired, not enough sleep, and you don't feel good, everything you achieve much slower.
I have to tell you, just the simple thing of longevity. I mean, if we can have life expectancy just of sleep is such a simple solution. But what I really wanted to talk about today is what inspired you to write a new book, because not only have I read your book and enjoyed it, but I actually went out and then ordered many copies, and I have shared it with so many of my close friends who their feedback has been just amazing. You just really seem to be so in touch with retirement and how we enter that journey. And it is a journey, and it is an emotional adjustment. So can you share what inspired you to do this and what a gift it was to so many?
The reason I want to write that is based on a personal experience. And basically, my husband's retiring, and then he always said for 10 years saying that I don't know what I'm going to do after I retire. And I hear a lot of stories from my patients too. They say, after I retire, I don't know what to do. And then so they became very depressed about it, So that actually inspired me. I want to write something to help these people to say, hey, retirement is not the end of your work life, rather. But so we talk about not lifespan. Okay, lifespan is how many years we live. But we talk about health span. So during the many years you live, how many years you're actually being healthy. So that leads me not only talking about helping people to give them an idea how to retire, but also the next book I'll talk about is Secrets to Longevity, and also combined with the holistic guide.
Wow, that's great.
And talking about people think longevity after retire, I have time to go to gym now, I can exercise. No, actually longevity starts from infancy. Okay, talk about birth and adolescence when you're adult, and you get, it's the whole life journey about how do you keep your health good to have the optimum health span and to live a long life. You don't want to just long lifespan, but you spend the next how many years you're feeling like sick, couldn't move, and depressed and everything like that. So that's what inspired me to write that.
Well, I have to tell you, it has been such a gift to so many, and I loved reading it, and I loved it so much that I actually give it now as gifts to people, and the feedback has been great. So thank you. And so we look forward to your next book. I know that you're working on the next one, so we look forward to reading that. But after 25 years of practice, what's your most valuable health advice for our listeners today? What would be your most valuable advice that you could leave us with today? Because you have such a wealth of knowledge. Like when you think about that, the decades that you've been doing this, not only do you have the ability as a doctor, but you also have that ability of just experience. So can you kind of describe some of that for us?
So continue with the idea of the longevity. is actually not dealing with when you're sick. Most people say, I don't feel well, something's wrong, I go to the doctor, right? I want to change the concept about preventive care. Preventive care is starting out from a very young age, all through your life. And I like to talk about preventive care. First of all, you need to have a regular health screening. Even before you're sick, you want to have a screening. But very important is the family history. Say, oh yeah, my dad, my brother, I have plenty of patients like that, and they die young at 50 in a heart attack. What do? You don't wait till you have heart attack before you go to the doctor. So that's called a family history. If you know your family history, if your family history carry diabetes, and then this one actually talk about a patient that knowing that you have a potential to have diabetes in your genes. So what do? Stop eating sugar. Don't eat sweets, right? Prevent that. And also the health screening. And then the healthy lifestyle choice, like nutrition, we know that American diet is not very healthy. I like two books I really recommend. One is called The Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia. The other book called Good Energy by Dr. Casey Means. They both are medical doctors. And the book talks about how American medical school and their practice. And they are actually changing the idea that's not optimal. So I encourage people to read that. They talk about movement is more than nutrition. Movement is very important. Physical and stress management, we know that. And mental health. So very important, again, in building a strong relationship with your family, with your community, have friends. That's actually very crucial to have that. I encourage you to think about preventive care is a long lifetime strategy. It's not just when you're sick.
I can't thank you enough for that, because I think you're right. The stress management and the life balance and the mental health is so critical for all of us. You have been amazing in not only in helping people, but also educating people. And for that, I'm very grateful.
I like to emphasize, how do you get the preventive care? Because Western medicine, if you go to the doctor, your blood work, everything fine, your imaging is fine, they're not doing anything until something shows up. So they offer a very unique and holistic approach to prevention. So many people coming to me saying that, I'm fine. The blood work is fine. And when I actually palpate them and look at their pulse, and I found out there are things even before the Western medicine and the blood work and the imaging shows, even before your health showing any markers. And that is when the prevention starts.
This has just been such a huge wealth of knowledge today. I can't even thank you for doing this. You just are amazing, and I want to thank you for sharing your book with so many. I know that so many people have commented on it, and we're looking forward to your next book. I loved reading your article, and you're being featured in a magazine. You have just given back so much to the community, and you're so kind and giving about sharing all your wealth of knowledge. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Women's Wealth, The Middle Way. Make sure to subscribe to us and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcast app. Join us for new episodes every other Wednesday. See you in 2 weeks.